Where shall I get training? What can I do to prepare before the class? And how long does it take to learn to fly like Tucker Gott? Welcome to paramotoring. Maybe you've just seen a paramotor flying over the beach or came across a paramotor YouTube video and are super excited about this sport. We are here to answer all the questions of wannabe pilots. As a paramotor manufacturer, whenever I receive a request for paramotor gear, my first question is, do you have training? Are you a pilot? Now, sometimes I receive a request from people who are on budget and they would say they want to buy the Scout because they believe it's a premium best paramotor, but they don't have enough money for training, so they want to learn on their own. Now, they're quite surprised when I reply that please don't buy a Scout. Don't save on training in order to buy premium paramotor gear, because no gear can compensate for lack of skills. Start with training, and if you're low on budget, get maybe a used paramotor, and eventually a few years later you'll get a Scout. Thank you for the trust, but training is essential. Stay away from free training. I know there are some offers like buy our gear and we will train you for free. No, stay away from free training. It's suspicious, it can't work. Actually, a very good friend of mine, an instructor in Boston, he told me that he charges quite a lot for his training. So at every moment during the training, the students have the feeling that the instructor owes them another hour or two. That he feels obliged to provide the maximum effort and all the attention that the pilot needs in order to learn paramotoring. Learning to fly paramotor is a never-ending process. Even after finishing your formal training, you will continue to learn all your life. Now, how many hours does it take to become a really good pilot? Well, it depends. My friend Shihab from Saudi Arabia, a Red Bull Air Race pilot, told me that you can have 1,000 hours of experience, or you can have 1 hour 1,000 times. It very much depends on what you are doing. Many pilots would end up flying every day from the same spot, take off in pretty much the same direction, same conditions, flying the same circuit. And this is not a flying style that you can expect to learn a lot. I myself, I didn't do much progress in the first 2-3 years of my flying career. I was all by myself. I was the only pilot in the county and I had no one to learn from. My son Peter is a different story. Even in 2 years he became a pretty decent pilot because he was surrounded by experienced pilots. I took him twice to Iceland with me, where he met really experienced pilots from all around the world, and he had a lot to see and a lot to learn, and he realized how much there is to learn further. How long does it take to learn to fly like Tucker Gott? Well, young Judson Graham is a proof that you can reach that level within 2-3 years. And here are the few things you can do to speed up your process. First of all, fly a lot. Flying 20 hours a year will not get you too far. I would recommend our video series, Paramotor Geometry Classroom, where in about 40 videos we explain the technology, geometry and the know-how of building paramotors. Also, there's another video series of Smarter Pilot when we did a lot of real-time scientific and technical experiments. This will allow you to understand your aircraft much better. There are also some video series about how to fly acrobatics, but I'm not a big fan of learning acro from YouTube. Much better is to learn from others. This is why I would recommend to surround yourself with experienced pilots. This has two major benefits. First of all, you learn a lot. They will help you to progress and explain you in a much better way. They can observe what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong and where you can improve. And secondly, it will keep you humble, because you will always see a better pilot to look up to, and it will prevent the intermediate syndrome from hurting you. And the last most important thing, stay focused on learning and add deliberate training at the end of your every flight. Go fly for fun, for sightseeing, exploration, taking pictures, but at the end of the flight, always have a 20-minute session where you deliberately practice and train one specific skill. Build a plan and follow. So what are the skills that I would recommend to practice and train even after your formal training is finished? Start with spot landing. Absolutely. This will help you to feel comfortable and relaxed in the air if you know that you are able to land on any spot that you see with confidence and ease. I would also recommend to practice advanced takeoff skills, and many pilots, they tend to neglect this, because when you fly at home you usually have a wide open area with a perfect windsock, and you lay the glider into the wind and it's easy. But harnessing the skills of advanced takeoffs will allow you to travel, to be able to take off on a parking lot or a tight spot or with crosswind or on a narrow road or in between obstacles and so on. So this will allow you to explore the world with a paramotor and fly even on spot with less than perfect takeoff zones. This might be a surprise, but I would also recommend to train the basic techniques of slalom flying. I'm not referring to competition level, brute force, really hard slalom flying, but to learn the technique and using it at what 80% of the abilities of the glider is a perfect skill that will make you very confident in congested airspace. When you come to a fly-in where there's so many pilots around you, someone will kind of cross your flight pattern and you need to make a sharp turn. You want to be confident in the sharp turn. You want to pull the brake and know exactly how the glider will react. So if you have just one try, that try will be successful. A year or two after finishing your normal training, I would recommend to do an SIV course. The SIV comes from French language and it stands for Simulation of Incidents in Flight. What it basically is, with proper guidance by experienced instructors, you would pull center lines and cause collapses to your own glider. The purpose of that is to see how it feels when the glider receives a collapse, what the glider does, how it recovers, and also learn how to help the glider to recover, or even better, how to prevent the glider from collapsing. Making an SIV course will make you a bit more confident in turbulent air. You will keep your respect, but you will have less fear, because fear is the thing that paralyzes you in turbulence and causes your reactions to be delayed or inappropriate. Stay safe, do an SIV course. Can't recommend too much. Now, a natural progression from the SIV course is trying a little bit of acrobatics. I myself, I don't like the high G-force. It's not a pleasurable sensation for me, but some very basic entry-level acrobatics are recommended for every pilot, because it will help you to develop the feel for the glider, and it will be less about rules and what to do. If that, it will be natural. You will just feel it and flow with the glider, and you will become one with the glider controls. So a little bit of acrobatics, I think every pilot should try. I myself, I learned the most when I committed to a paramotor adventure. I just strapped my tent and sleeping bag onto a paramotor and left. Set your dates, roughly set your destination and go. Just commit. Adapt to the weather, and you will learn the most when you are fully exposed to the elements and you have no other choices and no excuses. That's the ultimate adventure of facing the uncertainty. That's where you become a really, really good pilot. Now, as you're watching this video, you're probably not a pilot yet, but a wannabe pilot. Welcome to paramotoring, but start with training. Let's go back to the very beginning. You need to start with training first. At Scout Aviation, we build paramotors. We don't teach, but if you need advice in finding a good instructor, please feel free to reach out to us. There is a link below. And below, we will also post links to our other videos, namely the Paramotor Geometry Classroom, where we explain the theory, geometry and know-how of building paramotors, and also the Smarter Pilot video series that will also allow you to understand the aircraft much better and eventually become a better pilot. Good luck on your journey!